Hey guys, welcome back. So I'm jumping right into the matte book and I'm grabbing the darkest shade in the palette and I'm tapping this directly on my crease so I can build up the intensity and pigmentation before I go in with my next shade. For my crease shade, I'm getting the lightest green now and I'm just tapping it right above that harsh green line. And what this is going to do is going to soften that dark green. So I start first by tapping it and then I end up like slowly going in circular motions. Damn, I can't speak today. So I'm grabbing the highlighter concealer in the shade 28 and I'm using this to carve out my cut crease. So I like using a lighter base because I just feel like the colors look way more pigmented when you use a lighter shade. So I'm just slowly carving the shape of my crease and going slightly higher, like right above my folds. That way I don't mess up my eyeshadow. Moving on to this bright yellow shade in the palette, I'm getting like more of a flat dense brush and I'm packing this on my inner corner. Then I'm going to go into this light green shade and I'm going to place that right next to it to create kind of like an ombre effect. And I'm just patting that in. Also, while I'm patting, I'm also blending it. But in order to blend it, I don't do all that extra stuff because I don't want the eyeshadow to become patchy. So now I'm going into the darkest green shade and I'm placing that in my outer corner. And this is the same green shade I used in my crease and I'm just using that to darken up the crease a little bit. For liner, I'm using the Line Me liner from the color case. The Crayon Case. I'm in it. And then I get the highlighter shade 15 and that's what I'm using as my base. And this was just a tad bit too dark, like a hair too dark, but it ended up matching my neck, so it's all good. And then I blend this in and blend it in. This is self-explanatory before I go in with my next shade. For my next shade, I picked up the concealer shade in the shade 23, and this is what I'm using to highlight. I didn't want something too in your face, like too extra. So I wanted to go with just a couple shades lighter than my skin tone, nothing too crazy. And I'm putting this in the areas where I normally highlight, bridging my nose, under eyes, forehead, chin, and so forth. Oh, and yeah, by the way, I'm also taking this time out to clean up my wing liner. So I'm just using the same concealer because we blend it all out anyway, so it's going to look good. Make it look sharp. And while I'm out here blending, I just want to tell y'all, most of the products I used was from the Crayon Case, and I'm loving everything from the eyeshadow palettes. I also picked up another palette. I'm gonna do a lot of looks with the Crayon Case, so y'all just stay tuned for these popping bold looks. All right, so I'm getting this shade 17 and I'm using it to contour and I'm placing this on the perimeters of my face. Y'all know the deal, on the sides of my nose, and I'm just gonna blend this out. Now I'm just blending out my concealer with this Morphe setting brush. And I did let my concealer stay on my skin for a while. And the reason why I did so is because I noticed that when I let my concealer sit on my face, it just melts right in. It's easier to blend and it makes the concealer much more full coverage. I'm not going with my Maybelline Fit Me powder in the shade 310. And what I've been doing lately is I first set my under eyes with a regular powder. And then I go over with my translucent setting powder or whatever I want to bake with. And this basically, what it does is basically, it sets your concealer and it kind of creates this barrier where the setting powder won't sink into the fine lines. So now I'm grabbing the banana powder from the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter line, and I'm using this to slightly bake, nothing too crazy. That's just to bring some brightness back into my face. And I also apply this on the other areas where I applied my concealer, and I just end up cutting my cheekbone as well, and this just gives me that sculpting effect, so my face looks a little more chiseled. Yes, moving on to the Contourization notebook. So I'm in love with the packaging of the Crayon Case. Like everything from them I love. Like the packaging I die for. All right, so I was just a little too crunk there, but yes, I'm using the shade Bikini, I believe it was, to just go ahead and contour my face, just slightly bronze, and I'm just dusting this powder away, and I go right back into that shade. I'll link that. I didn't read that, but yeah, and I use that to bronze all over. So I contoured and I bronzed with this palette. I moved back into the palette and I got the second to darkest green, and I'm just applying this underneath my lash line. Next, I go back into that yellow shade and I'm putting this right on top of that green. And I'm just blending this just to make the green a little less harsh. And I go in with my L'Oreal Telescopic Mascara and apply this on my bottom lash line. Yes, y'all. So we're moving on to the color pencils. Yep, the lip pencils. And I chose the color coffee to outline all around my lips. But I wish I would have went darker. So I wish I would have chose the color Bear. Because I wanted more like a nude lip. And I ended up getting a pink. But yeah, I just went in with coffee and lined my lips. For lip gloss, I'm going in with the Hot Pass Collection lip gloss in the shade Clean Kisses. And I love this pinkish nude shade. I just wish I would have used the dark lip liner like I mentioned. But it's all good. Still look good. But yes, I'm in love with this lip gloss. Using my Ride or Die setting spray from Morphe brushes per usual, and I'm just setting my face before I go in with this highlight. This is Glowed In from the Crayon Case, and y'all see this beam? I was not ready. It was just too in my face. I used a little too much, but it's all right because I ended up blending it a little more off camera. But I'm placing this on my cheekbones, the bridge of my nose, underneath my brow bone. But this concludes the end of this video. If you guys enjoyed, please make sure to give us a thumbs up, like, comment, share, and subscribe for more. And God willing, I'll see you in my next video. Bye.